Hello everyone and welcome to a new video dedicated to our beloved Snoopy and the world of Peanuts. Among the very first Peanut strips, we find true miniatures of philosophy and humor, and the one from January 3rd, 1951, is one of the most striking examples. On the surface, it's a simple conversation between two children eating lollipops on a winter day. And yet, in just a few lines, Schulz crafts a short but intense dialogue about the fleeting nature of things, innocence, and the childlike view of life. The strip is set in a bare scene, yet it's rich in meaning. The absence of background and details gives exclusive space to the words and expressions, like a kind of mental theater. The main characters are Charlie Brown and Patty, two central figures in the early months of the series. Patty, often confused with a later Peppermint Patty, a character introduced many years afterward, was actually one of the most frequently appearing characters in the earliest years of Peanuts. Charlie Brown, even at this stage, stands out for his inner depth, a mix of seriousness and wonder that would later make him an icon of existential reflection disguised as children's comedy. The meaning behind Charlie Brown's line, which at first glance may seem like just a piece of nonsense, is actually more layered than it appears. For this reason, in our analysis we will explore how each panel contains a fragment of Schulz's poetic style, with connections to the popular culture of the time, recurring themes in the strip, and the author's narrative and graphic techniques. In the first vignette, we see Charlie Brown opening the conversation with a phrase that sounds like a reimagined proverb: "Life is like an all-day sucker." The scene is minimalist, a completely white background, a few ground lines, and two children in winter clothes walking slowly as they enjoy a lollipop. The lollipop, a common symbol of American childhood in the 1950s, becomes in this vignette a universal symbol. The lollipop, or more precisely, the all-day sucker, was a widely popular candy in the American childhood imagination of the 1950s. Large, colorful, mounted on a stick, it was designed to last for hours, a small luxury of sweetness prolonged over time. But Schulz doesn't merely include it as a nostalgic element. He transforms it into a powerful visual symbol. In the hands of the two children, the lollipop becomes a metaphor for life itself. Sweet, yes, but destined to be slowly consumed until it disappears. There is no rush, no drama, just a calm, childlike, yet profoundly adult acknowledgement that everything which begins is destined to end. Charlie Brown doesn't look at Shermie as he speaks. This seemingly minor detail is actually crucial. It suggests that his words aren't directed at a specific listener, but perhaps only at himself, or at the world in general. It's an existential reflection spoken aloud with the ease of a child describing a dream. Once again, Schulz shows us how his characters, though children in both form and context, are capable of expressing thoughts of remarkable philosophical depth in a style that blends the innocence of childhood with the melancholy of adulthood. Furthermore, the term all-day sucker carries a layered meaning that enriches the vignette even more. In American popular culture, the phrase was also used to describe a gullible person, a sucker, someone easily fooled. Schulz, always acutely aware of the power of words, leaves this double meaning hanging in the air. Charlie Brown doesn't seem aware of the ambiguity, but the adult reader is, and it is precisely in this subtle space of shared understanding that Schulz's artistry reveals itself, in his ability to write a line that speaks simultaneously to the child and the adult, to the surface and the depths. What makes this vignette so powerful is precisely this overlap of registers, the pleasure of sweetness and the awareness of its end, naivety and disillusionment, lightness and gravity. In just a few lines and a single phrase, Schulz manages to condense an entire vision of life, one that, like a lollipop, is meant to be savored slowly as it gradually disappears. In the second vignette, Patty reacts with genuine curiosity, asking what that phrase actually means. This seemingly simple moment reveals a complex and already well-defined dynamic between the two characters. From her very first appearances, Patty stands out for her more brash, self-assured attitude, almost eager to understand and dominate the world around her. Charlie Brown, by contrast, moves within a more nuanced inner space. He is reflective, often insecure, inclined toward introspection and bewilderment. Patty's question, therefore, is not rhetorical or provocative. It is a sincere request, one that opens a small breach in the dialogue and invites a pause, to make sense of the words and to build a bridge between two very different ways of being in the world. In this vignette, as in the others in the strip, the background remains completely empty. There is no indication of place, no contextual element to help us situate the scene in any recognizable space. This absence is not accidental. It is a deliberate stylistic choice by Schulz, who strips away the superfluous in order to focus all attention on verbal interaction and body language. The result is an almost theatrical abstraction. The characters seem to be performing on a bare stage, immersed in a metaphysical limbo where time stands still and every word takes on an unexpected, almost existential weight. In the third vignette, Charlie Brown offers his explanation. Here today, gone tomorrow. It's a dry, straightforward line, and precisely because of that, surprisingly effective. It draws from the tradition of folk sayings, but its disarming simplicity makes it immediately understandable even to a child. The phrasing is clearly inspired by the English proverb "here today, gone tomorrow," commonly used to express the fleeting nature of a situation, a possession, or even life itself. And yet, in Schulz's hands, this saying takes on a new dimension. It becomes something that feels perfectly natural coming from the mouth of a child, like a spontaneous observation, free of cynicism but no less true. There is in this line a subtle, almost imperceptible melancholy that gently emerges between the lines. Like a lollipop, life is sweet, colorful, desirable, but it doesn't last forever. This thought, so simple and yet so profound, is expressed without rhetoric or drama. Charlie Brown doesn't complain. He doesn't despair. He observes. And it's precisely in this calm acceptance that a kind of childlike wisdom is revealed, an awareness that, in its innocence, manages to strike a universal chord. Charlie Brown looks at Patty with a convinced expression, almost as if lit up by a truth he has just discovered. Patty, for her part, seems to listen intently, as if struck by a sudden understanding. In that silent exchange of glances lies the true power of the strip, the ability to transform an existential reflection into an everyday moment, tender and deeply human. In the fourth vignette, the tone of the strip subtly but significantly shifts. Charlie Brown is buried in the snow, with only his head and legs visible, an uncanny, almost surreal image that evokes the poetics of the absurd. Beside him, the lollipop lies abandoned, a small object full of meaning, now devoid of purpose. And yet, Charlie smiles, and with a self-satisfied expression, remarks on how funny he found his own joke. It's a disorienting moment, perfect in its irony, offering no real resolution, just an interruption, a pause. The dialogue has ended, but the thought lingers on. In this fourth vignette, Charlie Brown is sunk into the snow, with only his legs and head sticking out, while the lollipop lies discarded next to him. He smiles and comments with satisfaction that he found his joke quite funny. This ending is perfect in its irony. There's no real resolution, only a moment of suspension. Patty, who has listened and reflected, can do nothing but appreciate Charlie Brown's humor, as if recognizing that beneath that simplicity lies something deeper. Visually, this vignette breaks continuity. For the first time, we see a change in posture, an unexpected gesture. It's a pause, a dead moment that ends the dialogue but leaves room for reflection. The fact that Charlie Brown is left alone becomes a powerful visual metaphor. Like life itself, conversations end, people come and go, and what remains is only our interpretation. It's a human comedy ending, one that contains both lightness and depth. And that's precisely the magic of Peanuts. In just a few lines and with essential drawings, Schulz manages to capture the entire essence of life's fragility, childlike wonder, and the irony with which one can face the inevitability of passing time. The vignette from January 3rd, 1951, seemingly simple, becomes a small treatise of humorous philosophy, where childhood is not just lightheartedness, but also awareness. And so, between a laugh and a moment of reflection, we realize that Patty and Charlie Brown, with their winter jackets and lollipops in hand, resemble us much more than we'd like to admit. Maybe we too, every now and then, should pause, lie down on the imaginary grass of our own days, and recognize that certain remarks, said by chance, can actually be truly, deeply, quite funny.
If you enjoyed yourselves, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and activate the little bell to stay updated, and see you next, friends.